So in this video, I want to talk about what is the main purpose of a university. I think most people get this wrong and they don't understand all of the nuances that happens at a university. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Maslach. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out as much as I possibly can. So understanding what a university does is a really tricky thing, and it is very difficult to sort of put your fingers on exactly what it is. There was this really great paper from years ago. It's actually quite famous within the decision-making area, and it's called the garbage can theory of I think garbage can theory of decision making, and it's really based on how organizations like a university actually makes decisions and what happens within it. And it kind of describes organizations as sort of a process where problems and solutions get thrown into kind of like a garbage can, and they get shaken around, and then a decision gets made. And that's kind of describing the sort of haphazard sort of way that universities actually make decisions and what happens within the decision making. What happens at a university. It's really difficult to put your fingers on exactly what the main purpose or the main goal of a university is. And I think most people think that it's about disseminating knowledge, but that is not true. That is only a small amount of what a university actually does. And that's maybe the primary, the first thing that universities do. So they create or they disseminate knowledge, right? So that teaching component of it. But the creating new knowledge is actually probably larger, and in a lot of universities is much, much larger, particularly at a graduate school or a graduate-only type university like Princeton or Stanford or something like that. They're really geared towards creating new knowledge, creating new things. Another important thing that universities do that we forget about is making the world see the world differently, or sort of being this leadership role in seeing a different perspective on what the world actually could be like or what it should look like. In a fourth thing, this is what a lot of economic development type people would look at a university, is that it creates a lot of economic opportunities. There's tremendous amount of research in this area that suggests that universities are massive producers of economic opportunities. It's probably one of the primary sources of economic opportunity in the world at this moment. Where a university exists, there's generally a lot of economic opportunities that's going on. And this is the next thing, just sort of next goal that universities do, is that they create connections. Not only connections between students, as you would imagine, but connections between different researchers, academics, but also connections with the community. I think that is a very important thing, with building those connections. And where somebody identifies with that particular university, there's often a quick connection that is made from that. And I think that is a very vital thing that universities actually do. And the sixth thing, and this kind of goes back to the roots of where universities actually came from, is allowing people to openly debate ideas and having this sort of moment where we can say, hey, let's put our guns and knives to the side and actually have a platform, an arena where we can debate and think about ideas without killing each other, really, is what it comes down to. And this is a vital part of society. It sort of creates this opportunity where we can actually have an open debate and say, hey, do we want to have this issue? Is this an issue or something that we really want to do? It seems strange that we have to talk about that, but that is a vital component of what actually universities do. And then another goal that a lot of people think of, sort of miss out on, it's a meeting place for a lot of things, and where there is a sort of open space. And that's why the design of the university, the layout, the physical, where there's grounds, for example, is so vitally important to have those things, because it is a meeting place where people get together and just kind of think about different aspects of what's going on in the world around them. And that meeting place is vital component of a university. Now, an eighth goal of a university is to be very symbolic of a better world, in that there is this sort of world that we can create, this sort of symbolism of what it means. People forget about that. That's a large component of what we might think about in the sort of symbolic nature of what universities represent. Knowledge, for example, that there is a component of knowledge that's very important, and that we should be able to have an open discussion and be able to actually debate things without getting very upset with each other. That symbolic nature is very, very important. Now, another thing that sometimes actually happens, it happens a lot more than you think, is actually to carry out political agendas for different people. Now, the good and bad that happens with politics, and that they can actually carry out different things. So political leaders do get involved in universities, even though that there's supposed to be this sort of separation, but they do fund different components of university. They fund research, they fund, sometimes fund tuition and different things. And so they have a lot of weight in what happens at a university. And so they can carry out political agendas of what happens. So we do see this all the time. If somebody doesn't like a certain area, or an area is kind of like, I don't know if I like that thing, sort of politically leaning, then the politicians are not going to fund that particular area. And it's just harder to get research going in that particular area. And that happens all the time. That is very much part of a university life. And the last thing that we forget about is that it creates innovation, right? So there's graduate students that come out of universities. They might be next door, or they're in a lab, and somebody comes up with a great idea, and they create that sort of spin-off technology that might actually create something, or be a new product, or be a new service, or whatever that we haven't seen before. And that is often the case at universities, because there's time to think. We're pushing new ideas. We're thinking about different things that we couldn't have thought about before. So you could see, and this is just 10 different purposes of a university. There's a lot more that you can go into, but you could see, if you look at it in all these different directions, it is a really complicated thing. And it is a really unique sort of organization that people maybe don't realize, that there is all of this stuff that's going on. And it is very unique in this world, because it sort of has all of these different purposes and all these different things that are going on. So with that, give me a thumbs up, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.